Okay, so again, welcome back. This is the first series in the video. What I want to do today is to break down some of the fundamental sounds of the drum. And I also want to speak a little bit about how the way we produce those sounds is very different for Trinidadian style drumming than what it is for East Indian drumming, or even you might find with Guyana Tan style. So right now, just to break down the drum a little bit, again, I said you don't have to wait till you have a perfect drum from Trinidad. Start with any drum you have. These rope drums have more give to them in their sound than the nut and bolt drums. So it is a preference. If you can get a rope drum, it is preferable in Trinidad classical to a nut and bolt. There's also a certain softness the skin has to have that is often lost with a nut and bolt. It may not appear so at first to you, but the more you have that experience in your hands is the more you'll feel it. So again, you have the Taal side and you have the bass, or what they call the boom. Now, everyone likes to tune this differently. If you listen to old Trinidadian recordings, they did not have drums that were separated on both sides by an eye hook in the middle. It was one continuous drum, often looped in well, that's beside the point, but with rings, so that you couldn't separate the bass and the Taal. That being said, if you were to pull the Taal too tight, the bass would also be too tight, which you lose the resonance when you go too high. Now, with chutney drumming and chow tal and other stuff, people pull it tight because they have that option, and the sound profile and sound aesthetic has changed where people prefer a very sharp Taal, almost to the point where it sounds like a tack tack tack, and a deep booming bass. For me, what I like, just because I have a certain tabla background, is I like this to be tuned lower so that it rings, and I like it to be to the same pitch as the singer's sa, because it just makes everything more harmonious as opposed to discordant when this sound, that sound, they're clashing. That's my personal preference. To each their own. Sometimes you'll sit with a singer who will tell you what they prefer. Now, again, this note, I'm gonna find. So if someone was singing in this, that's when I would want my drum to be like this, because it's going to complement the song. That's not important to everyone, but if you look back at the history of the drumming, even if you look at where this music comes from, because Dholak was probably at some point a pakawaj, that is an instrument that would have originally had the rice paste in the middle so that it would ring out. So again, Trinidad classical is its own thing, but I just want to point that out. Now, you have different ways of tying this drum. That I can get to in another video, but there are some drums that have, you see, this goes eye hook to the hole to the eye hook. In an East Indian drum, you have from here, it will go up, skip one, and it will go probably to here, which makes a bigger triangle for more tension. That's also important for a Trinidadian drum, to have just a single one, because again, you need a certain type of give. Now we have the bass side that is bigger than a standard East Indian bass. You could see the ratio is different, but again, whatever drum you have is fine. But we're going for, if you hear certain Punjabi drumming and stuff like that, they have a very high set bass. With Trinidad classical bass, you want a deep rumbling bass. this itself could take more masala. But here in Canada, because the temperature of the, sometimes we have to keep it super hot and dry in the house when it's winter, or it gets humid in the summer. That all plays a role here, so it may be different depending on where you live. Now, to get back to the point I'm making, is the notes are a little different. You have that in a tabla or in seitan would be, this finger is anchored here. In Trinidadian, it doesn't have to be. It could be your loose finger like this. And if you hear what I'm doing, even though it's the same finger gesture, there are a bit of a different sound between here and here. This is a little more muted. So you'll hear in other sounds. Now you have, with the same division of fingers, you have a bowl called, what I will call tete. Te, 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 te. At least that's how it would be in a tabla. I'm trying my best to find notation for those who think that way, but for those who just want to listen by ear, just watch what I'm doing and see. So, and I want to say something with that. What you're going to see with a tighter drum is you get more of a tack, 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 and with a softer tuned drum, your hand is going to go in more, so you get a bit of a, it's, I don't know how to explain. It's more buttery, I guess. With this, what you also come to realize is that because this is a double membrane drum, whatever you're doing here, whenever this skin is open, this is going to vibrate over here. So we also have the gestures where we are going to cover this side like this, or like this. Your 4 fingers flat and mounted over here. And the reason why I'm saying this is because certain applications require you to mute this side when you're playing this over here. Okay, so now we've covered the na, te, te, and now this, we're going to be playing this with the outer surface of our hand here. And it's just these 3 fingers. Some people cup their hand like this, almost like you're going to scoop water out of something or scoop ice cream. You're going to chop like this. They call it chop. Some people don't like to use this gesture as much because they find it more vulgar, but I think it makes for a fuller sound. And if you're going to go over to play chutney, this is crucial. So we have the na, te, te, chop. Some people, that's more of a tabla thing, dere, dere, but, you might get into that. The thing is, once you put your whole hand here, you're more likely to flatten out the sound of the drum. When this drum is tuned, your goal is to, some people you see hitting up here. I do that to fine tune because I'm not someone that crocks a drum when I'm playing, but you want this to be tight enough that when you're playing these notes, the pitch doesn't drop back down, because it doesn't sound pleasant mid-song when your drum has dropped its pitch. So let's see. I'm going to call that part 1 for now, and then we're going to go on to the bass notes. So thank you, and tune back for the second part.